There's you're missing a vocalist for a while when Dimitri left, and with Irony as a dead scene, you had Mike Patton coming on. How was working with him?
Pretty amazing. It was pretty awesome to kind of walk into the studio, for me to be like, oh, hey, Mr. Patton, like hero of mine, and then 10 minutes later, be like, yo, Mike, blah 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 blah, and it's kind of been that way ever since. He's really, all things considered, really down to earth. His work ethic is really unparalleled. The guy is a machine. But he's never condescending. He, always saw us on the same level. When we did, we covered a Faith No More song when we performed the E.P. in San Francisco one time, and, his attitude was kind of like, where were you guys 10 years ago when I was playing with those clowns, He was just, he just immediately became kind of like, he stayed an icon, but really kind of became a friend and an inspiration, directly. He just really, he really showed us what we could do with the band and what, and what limitations we didn't have. It was awesome to hear somebody sing over our material and be like, wow, okay, let's look for another singer who can, a lot of people wonder, whether he was a member or whether, what kind of talks were going on at that time. And I think, the only thing to really say was neither of us really, wanted another side project. He had enough going on. We never wanted to be anybody's side project. And we knew that he could never really commit to anything more than just what we had. So, but we're happy that it happened that way, and there's still, cards on the table, so to speak. Neither party has ever said we'll never do it again. We'll see what happens there.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned Ben Wyman on guitars, the last original member from the the original lineup back in the day. It's kind of like the future, as it were, rests in his hands. Kind of if something happens to him, it's Dillinger Escape Man's plans sort of looking a bit worrying, or is Dillinger sort of more of an entity of all you guys?
I mean, the way we feel about it is, it's more of an entity. There is obviously something to be said when your lineup changes that much. And for me, it's kind of hard to say, not because I'm obviously not an original member, but I have been in the band for, almost 9 years now. So it's still, at this point, it feels like my band, and feels like I might not be an original member, but I have, some kind of tenure. But, to me, it's more just about the attitude. I look at bands like Death or something like that. I don't know how familiar you are, but, basically it was, the main guy, Chuck, and then just him getting whoever, whatever badass musicians he could get for those records. And, I don't really think it ever slowed down that band. And, so we're kind of always trying to find, some analogy to keep it like, yeah, okay, this really isn't that big of a deal. I'm sure that on some level it kind of takes the winds out of some fan sales, like, it was better with this guy, and there's always going to be those detractors. But, to me, it's more, it's more about the entity and the vibe. Does this person have the right attitude? Is the look on the crowd's face the same? Okay, yeah, we're still the Dillinger Escape man.
Awesome. Now we jump to some some New Zealand-based questions. Because you are coming in May, like I said. Are you looking forward to coming down?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure if I said it earlier, but Australia is our favorite place to play in the world. So and everybody tells me, a lot of people told me, New Zealand is their favorite place in the world. So, we're definitely excited to get there. We're kind of, I think we were supposed to have a show in Auckland the last time we played, and I'm not really sure what happened. So, we're excited to actually have the opportunity to get there. I'm not really sure what to expect, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty amazing. What's the weather like down there right now?
Well, it's quite late. It's almost 1 o'clock at night, but it's kind of been getting into sort of winter, which is kind of just means it's kind of just not snowing or anything like that, just basically crappy weather.
Right.
Nothing that great, nothing that good, kind of in the middle somewhere.
Right.
But I will say one thing. I've talked to a few other people who deal with sort of, with promoters and stuff, and they get feedback from bands, not necessarily, in metal or anything like that, but over all genres, who tend to leave New Zealand towards, not necessarily near the end, but quite, they've been around for a fair while and they're well known and established. And they come here and they're just surprised by the for the first time they come here and they're surprised by the reactions and the energy of the crowds and stuff, and they're always thinking, oh, why didn't we come here earlier? That sort of thing. So hopefully it's going to be a good night down at the transmission room, I think it is.
On these last couple tours, we've been playing. We played Prague for the first time. We played Budapest for the first time. We played Barcelona and Madrid for the first time. We're playing Russia for the first time. We're playing New Zealand for the first time. So, these other shows that we've already done have always, have all been, huge surprises. We expect something, but we were not prepared for what we got. So, I'm really hoping that, Auckland is the same. All of those shows are really, some of the most memorable shows in the past couple of years. So we're looking forward to it. And usually, we kind of deliver in that sense too. As much as the fans are craving for us to play, we're just excited to be there. Like, fuck, man, we're in New Zealand. Let's go off. So